All right, let's look at this report card. In the field since 2020, earn about $1 million, average sale price just under $1 million. Number of sales in 2023 was 57, and the volume of sales about $58 million. You can't be everything to everyone, but our next speaker understands this more than most. The one thing that stands out with Kristen is her desire with her life and business partner here, Jax, is to succeed in an industry that throws down challenges that most will find difficult to recover from. They both fully believe it's about being you and it's about being seen. They have quite the story to tell and they're about to share it here today. There's nothing vanilla about these two, I say. I know you're coming up, Kristen. Please welcome Kristen Carlysle Mackenzie. Thank you very much.
I opted for this mic because I don't have anywhere to dangle the other thing off. So if we good? If I sound like I'm not sounding, let me know. Just give me a nod. Jax, you could do that. Is that all right? So my name's Kristen. I'm here on behalf of myself and my beautiful wife, Jax, who's here as well today. She's the hottest looking girl in the room. So I genuinely mean that. No, you're all beautiful, I'm sure. It's funny. It's funny how what I love about real estate is everybody's doing it for different reasons and everyone does it completely differently. I was listening to Calvin and how he said you need to work every day. Nah. I'm the opposite. All good and well, Calvin. You're in your early 30s, I think, so we're getting closer to the old. We've surpassed 40, let's say. So our why, which I'll get to a little bit later, is a little bit different. When we started our business together in 2020, as you can see up here, one of our greatest things was to find freedom. Now, freedom comes in many forms, obviously financial freedom, but for us, we don't have children, we do have fur babies. But for us, freedom is to be able to go away as often as we can, and still be able to work sometimes, but just have a shitload of fun in the meantime. So we made a promise to ourselves in 2020, which I'll get to be able to take at least 12 weeks off a year, and we have successfully done that since we started our business. So. I'm sat next to Tanya Dwyer, who I met last year in Greece, and Tanya was just telling one of the other girls, she said she came to Crete to a real estate conference and she left Crete, quitting her all-time career as a pharmacist to get into real estate. So there's some inspiring people in the room. I just want to say how competitive I am and that I wanted to trump her story. I went to South Africa 16 years ago and came home a lesbian. So that's kind of where our story began. So thanks for the intro, Tanya. Now, I don't know, I'm winging this, so sorry. I don't know how to use the clicker, so let's see how this works. Let's add a bit of colour to the room. I'm not wearing pink. I'm wearing pink tonight. If anyone's coming to dinner, I will be wearing pink. But our brand has morphed over our 4 years into what you see on the screen right now, which is a massive pink hashtag, which you're all probably thinking, what the hell is that? And if you are, then that's great. It's serving its purpose, because I want you to be curious. So I obviously want to come up here and share our story because it may inspire you, it may give you ideas, but I really, really want you to take stuff away from today. So I really want you to have a think about what your brand says about you. Now, your brand may be like us. We've been absolutely blessed to be able to be creative and create our own brand with the company that we work for, Agents Agency. But your brand is you, whether you've got your own brand or you work for a brand. It's just a matter of making sure that you align with the message that you are sending. So I really insist that you write this down as one of the things that you do take away. I want you to really drill down on what your brand says about you. And when I did the exercise 2 days ago when I started thinking about writing this speech, I came up with so many, I actually couldn't stop writing with the amount of things that I could come up with that our brand says about us, just by looking at it. So that's what I want you guys to have a think about and take away from today. So, as I said, it was a bit earlier in 2020, probably Jan, Feb. We had, I don't watch the news, I'd heard about, you know, these people in Mexico that were getting sick by drinking too many Coronas. And I thought, oh God, what dickheads. Coronavirus. Oh well, let's quit our jobs, have zero income, and decide to do it on our own. So, good timing, as usual. But don't feel sorry for us. What ended up being an absolute disaster at the time has turned out to be the best thing that's ever happened to us, and the best timing that it could have ever happened to us. So it's all about perspective, really, isn't it? And what you do with the time that you're allocated, no matter what the time is. So I've been in real estate my whole career. I've been was in property management for a very, very long time, went into leadership and sort of corporate roles, I suppose you'd say. And I never really wanted to get into sales because I just didn't want to be one of those women. And I didn't want to give up my great income that I was on. I was earning a really good income, and that gave us the stability to live a great life. But it didn't give me freedom, and Jax was starting her journey in sales, and I was just purely jealous. I was jealous of everything that she was doing. So we decided, okay, quit our jobs. All these Mexicans are getting sick, who cares? And we decided to, in our own kitchen, take a photo shoot, and Kristen and Jax were born in real estate. We had a sole mission, and that was to be ourselves 100% of the time. So what you see right now, minus a few nerves, is who I am every day of the week. The Jax and Kristen that meet vendors in that we actually don't go to appointments together anymore very often, but when we did, the Jax and Kristen, it felt like we were partying at people's houses every night doing appraisals. Like, you know, there's no show, there's no pretense. In fact, this is as formal as you'll ever see me. And if I could have, I would have worn a cap with K&J on it, but Jax and Emily said I wasn't allowed to. So what you see is what you get. However, I am branded. I've got some bangles on, you'll see a bit later. So March 2020, we started at EView Frankston, and I think I was 2 days into my cubicle there, and the big head guys there called a meeting. Cool, sales meeting, first one, awesome. I don't have to talk about boring property management again. Sorry, property managers. They said, if there's this virus going around, if you can work from home, you really should. No rules, but you really should go home. So we're like, cool, all right. We wanted freedom. So we went out and bought a printer and a whiteboard and a heap of stationery, and we went home. And on the 26th of March, Victoria's first lockdown was announced, and there we sat for 43 days, and what was to be the first of many lockdowns. Mind you, we'd just started our business. We had nothing. We had no clients, no nothing. So coming from a corporate background, I would get up in the morning, sit down at my desk. Yes, that's wine, not water. And it was probably a bit early in the day for it, but that's me too. So I'd sit there at my computer at 9 a.m. and stare at the blank inbox and just wait for work to come to me, because that's what I was used to, right? So just this influx of work was just going to start coming to me. And then I'd stare at my whiteboard, and then I'd look at Jax, and she's on fucking Netflix. She's watching a Netflix movie, then she makes 2 calls and gets an outcome. What? I've sat here all day like an idiot, right? So it took me about a good 3 months to figure out that real estate wasn't just sitting in front of the computer and waiting for work to come, that you actually had to go out and do something, and just a couple of calls was enough to actually get a bit happening. But we were in lockdown, and if any of you aren't from Victoria, you may not know, but you probably do. We couldn't go further than 5 kilometres from our house. So we lived in Mornington at the time, and our patch that we'd been allocated was in Frankston South. It still is. So we couldn't even get there. To be honest, I'd never even driven around Frankston South. So you could tell me an address and I'd be like, God, I hope that's not the one on the hill if I'm letterbox dropping it. So we're at home. We're feeling pretty depressed and low. And there was about 2 months worth of this before we sort of went, shit. We couldn't get JobKeeper. We couldn't get JobSeeker. We couldn't get anything because we couldn't prove a downturn in our business because we just started it, blah, blah, blah. Boring, we've all got stories, right? So we decided, right, we've got to make a decision. Are we going to think outside the box, start getting creative and make this thing work, or are we just going to go get jobs? I could have gone back to property management, easily. So we sort of sat down and realised that pretty quickly that we'd lost a little bit of belief in ourselves, and we'd lost, all of the, excitement had kind of fizzled out by now. So we pulled out the whiteboard one day and we sat in the lounge room, and we had to get clear on 3 things before we kind of could decide whether we were going to go ahead with this or not. So the first thing we needed to do was to actually start believing in ourselves again. With nothing to do, nowhere to drive, no one to speak to, that was pretty hard. So the next thing I want you guys to write down for today is something that changed my life, and I believe our lives, was I went up to my room one day feeling just absolutely hideous, and I typed in YouTube meditation. Now, my sister's a meditation teacher. She told me to meditate 100 times in my life, and I'm like, yeah, nah. We're two different people, Lisa. I'm not going to do that. But I was getting pretty desperate. So anyway, I put in meditation, and it came up with an abundance meditation by Bob Proctor. So 20 minutes, I thought, oh, fuck, all right, got nothing else to do. So I sat down in my bed and I listened to Bob Proctor. It was like he was speaking directly to me, and it was exactly what I needed to hear. And to this day, it's exactly what I need to hear when I'm not feeling 100%. Now, I want to give everybody an opportunity. His meditation finishes off by saying that if you do this every day for 30 days, it will change your life. And that's what I did back then. Every day for 30 days, and it was funny when I was looking back this morning on my photos, it was actually mid-May in 2020 that I started doing this. So I started again this morning, and what I'd like everyone to do is to go to YouTube and have a look at the video. Bob Proctor, Abundance Meditation. If you want to, SMS me your phone number, your name and your number and everything. So it's, if you want to write this down, it's 0418 301 110. I'm happy to start a WhatsApp group and hold you guys accountable to the 30 days. I'm going to do it again. I guarantee. If you don't align with it, don't do it. Don't do anything you don't align with. If it aligns with you, it will change your life. Okay? So that's something I really want you to take away from today. So anyway, that gave me the belief. That gave me the belief, which I think filtered through to Jax. She did it with me a couple of times, but she's got ADHD and it's just not that great for her. Everyone's different. So the belief was then reborn. Okay, because what he says basically is if you can hold it in your head, you can hold it in your hand. Basically, anything you believe you can do and that you imagine, you can actually do. right? So I just sat there on this first day and I really just, funny, Manos put an image on the screen before of a heap of houses. I think he was saying 1 in 25 are going to sell, or I don't know what it was, but it was like a bird's eye view of a heap of houses. That was literally the sight that I saw in my first meditation. I was like, I just have to get one. We just got to get one. There's so many houses. I don't care where it is or what we ended up getting a hoarder's house referred to us by a friend. But anyway, that sold quickly and it was great. So the belief was there. Awesome. Then what we had to do was get clear, because Jax and I are a duo, we needed to get clear on our why and were we on the same page, you know? I knew what my reason for doing this was, but was Jax's reason the same, or are we sort of heading in two different directions? So what we figured out was that freedom was one of our biggest reasons for doing this. Fun was another one. If anyone knows us and follows us, you'll see that we do have probably far too much fun when we're supposed to be working. And just, I don't know, just happiness and joy. That's what we wanted in our lives. So our why was correct. We sat down and we worked out where we wanted to live and all that sort of stuff. But our reason for doing this job and for continuing on this difficult journey at a difficult time was those two things, freedom and fun. And the last thing that you have to have when you're figuring out whether or not you want to do this is just to make sure that you're sending the correct message out to your potential clients. So if you're starting from scratch, you know no one, you really need to come up with a message for your brand that is going to capture the audience that you want to capture. Now, we don't want or need to capture every audience out in our marketplace. If people want stilettos and high heels and suits and all, it's not us. You'll more likely find me doing an appraisal in activewear. But there's a client out there for everyone. So we've had our belief, we've got our why, and now we had to come up with our message. So the next thing we did was we sat down and we thought, why do people hate real estate agents, right? I don't know if you guys know that, but some people have an aversion to us. It's because they feel, most people have had a bad experience at some point in their life with a real estate agent. So what we sort of realised, and especially given the climate that we were in, was we needed to make people feel safe, especially at that time. So our marketing and our message needed to solve a problem. We needed them to trust us without saying, you should trust us. And how could we tell them that without saying it? So that's where You're Safe in Our Hands was born. Now, again, if anyone follows us, you should know that this is our message. It is our belief system. It is our mantra. I use it in my listing presentations. Jax uses it with her buyers in negotiations. It's our marketing strategy. It is our clear vision and mission. And our team are all on the same page. If they don't believe that every single interaction they have leaves the other person feeling safe, then they're not on our team. Right, Em? So your message has to be consistent. So the next thing we had to do was, okay, so we can't get to Frankston South. All right, well, the bus can, right? So the bus could travel more than 5 kilometres. So first image on your left is bus number 1, and the message on there is You're Safe in Our Hands. Every year we continue with our bus strategy. It's been the best investment we've ever made. It costs about 500 and something bucks a month. We are only on one bus that runs from Frankston to Portsea, and I can't tell you how many people say, how many buses are you guys on? I see you everywhere. I spoke to someone today. She said, I've got one bus, I've got to get more. I said, don't waste your money. It's, what's it called? Omnipresence. Omnipresence. So year 1, You're Safe in Our Hands. We've evolved. Year 2, You're Safe in Our Hands. Year 3, You're Safe in Our Hands. So our brand's evolved. Our messaging has stayed the same. Oops. Oh, God. So last year we invested a bit more money. I'd say it's not as good an investment as the bus, but we invested a bit more money and decided we'd go on the big screen. So at Hoyt Cinema in Frankston for 12 months, every showing you will see our ad for 15 seconds before you see a movie. And I can't tell you how many people have sent us messages just so excited. They really do believe we're famous. And I can assure you we're not. I'm going to play the video if I can. I'm hoping that... Do I just hit... Yeah. So, not very real estatey. And 15 seconds, my goodness, you try and fit your whole life into 15 seconds. So we got our dogs in there, that's the main thing, right? The pink hashtag has now become our brand for all of our businesses. So it is the conduit between our sales business, our property management business, which is a separate entity. It's the image for my coaching business, and basically everything we do moving forward will be all linked back to this hashtag. So there's a lot of different reasons why we've done it. There's a lot of sort of, I guess, different meanings that it has, but for us it's just an expression of who we are without saying it, right? Because that's good marketing. So back to 2020. Little bit different to Manos. I didn't have the house paid off and had to get a mortgage on it. We were getting pretty bored and decided to sell our own house in lockdown without being able to get a photographer out to take the photos or anything. Because what we were finding was we were talking to prospective clients. I don't even know how we got to speaking to them, but anyway, we were talking to prospective clients and trying to convince them that now was a great time to sell in lockdown in 2020. And I don't know why they didn't believe us. So we thought, okay, let's sell our place. So we thought, okay, we're bored, let's give it a go. If we don't get the price we want, we won't sell it, who cares, whatever. So we thought, Jax is our marketing guru. She'll take some photos on her iPhone and then we'll send it off to Box Brownie to get zhuzhed up and whatever. So I'm sitting there at my computer waiting for all my emails to come in one day, just all these emails that were going to just start coming to me. And I see Jax walk past with a dog. I'm like, oh, okay, she's taking the dog outside. Then she comes back with the dog in a turtleneck. And she's... I'm like, what are you doing, Dal? No. Then I heard the bath water. I thought, she having a bath in the middle of the day? So weird. Anyway, I'm like, what are you doing, Dal? I'm using the dogs in our photos for our marketing for the house. I'm like, oh, no, wait, that is so embarrassing. That is so daggy. We're going to be, like, everyone's going to think we're idiots. Anyway, this is Jax. So I went along. She won, by the way. She won that argument. Anyway, we sold our house in 3 days. I spent all day Saturday, Jax just held the camera and I did all the talking, which I don't know if any of you have caught on that's probably the way we do things. I did back-to-back virtual inspections all day. I lost my voice and we had multiple offers and sold our property that night for well above our expectations. So that was, I guess, what you call risking it all, right? The reason I sold the house was, yes, we were bored, but B, we were having to go all in if we were going to make this work. So Studio 10 calls us and we're on the morning show. So somehow it went viral. Studio 10 get us on their show. The Herald Sun comes out and takes photos of us. We're in magazines and all of a sudden we actually are famous. I don't even know why. I think everyone was sick of talking about COVID and they just really liked seeing the pictures of the dogs. I don't know. So then, I don't know, all of a sudden our business took off. I think it was all the free PR, but we did nearly $250,000 the following quarter. And that was year one, actually quarter three in real estate from a cold start in COVID without being able to drive to our patch. So I think that deserves a round of applause, doesn't it? $250,000 in year one. Fucking hell. Wish I could do that now. Anyway, so I'm crapping on, so I've got to carry on so I can get through all my slides. But we obviously grew. We put on way too many staff. I'm one of those people that feels sorry for people, put on all my friends, then had to fire them. And now it's just me, Jax, and Emily, and we've got Alicia in property management. So we are now doing the same volume that we did this time last year with half the amount of people. So it's not always about how many arms and legs you've got, right? It's got to do with efficiency. So Team Kristen and Jax became our brand because we really wanted to ensure that our team members were empowered. And we also wanted to send a message to our clients that it wasn't just going to be Kristen and Jax anymore. Own what you do. Don't say it's going to be you doing everything if it's not going to be you doing everything. They like the transparency. So we found by branding what we were now was seriously actually attracting clients because they love the transparency, right? And it's something different. So for us in COVID, the market was tough. We had to come up with a way to list homes and sell them, not the normal go straight to market kind of way. Now, I'm not an off-market selling agent, and I don't suggest that you become one. I do suggest that you start doing the research before you go to market to get your pricing right and to get your vendors' expectations in the right spot. So we kind of created our own pre-market strategy whereby we get the properties ready for market, so they get photographed, the board goes up, the brochures get printed, every single step is done, except putting it on the major portals yet. The only time you'll see on that sold board, the only time we use the word off market is if it actually sells during that phase. So 1 in 4 of our properties that we run this process with, which now is about 95% of our listings, 1 in 4 will sell during that phase. And I am doing a talk on it, I think, Manos, where I'll go into it in more detail during the year with your membership. But 1 in 4 sell, the other 3 go to market. But guess what? They go to market priced right. So they sell in the first 2 weeks. So our median sold price, Bailey, White, are you in the room? Don't take notes. Our median sold days on market is much lower than our competitors. So don't get it confused with off-market, I've got a buyer. It's not that. It's we're going to market, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor. If I snag you a price before, great. If not, I need to have a conversation with you about price before we go to market. So once the other 3 go to market, obviously it's on like Donkey Kong. You've got the major, these are our major, I guess, tech stack or whatever you call it. Realty Assist has been a game changer. We do not click go on a button, do we, anymore? Except yesterday. Except in an emergency. We do not click go on a listing until the client has signed off on their VPA. So they either pay now or they pay later. Don't care, they need to sign the agreement because I'm not paying for their marketing if they don't sell. Props, I don't do the selling side. The way we work is I list the properties, Jax sells the properties, and Emily does everything else. Let's give Emily a round of applause. Oh, and Jax. She's the velvet sledgehammer. So Jax uses the make an offer button, and I know she loves it. Our CRM is Vault. Jax and I don't use it, Emily does. That's okay. Find your way that works for you. And realestate.com, we are a big advocate for these guys. We won't talk about the price increases. But we use it to its nth degree. So I don't care. If you can't sell marketing, get out. If you cannot sell a product that is amazing, get out. You shouldn't be here. The no sale, no charge is a tool that we use quite often, especially when converting a pre-market to an on-market if someone's hesitant. We can go through that in more detail when I do my talk or ask REA. The bump, we did a bump, we call it a bump session. Emily and I sit down once a week, go through all of our listings and decide which ones to bump and which ones not to. what are they called? E-brochures. We sent heaps of them out this week. So it's about finding out how to use the product and actually using it properly. So where are we now? I think I've got about 3 minutes to go. 2020, we made most of our money in Q4, as you saw before. Before that, it was pretty much nothing. Year 2, when we put on about 27 staff and made 335, it was pretty dismal. 2022, kind of similar. And at the end of 22, I decided, once again, a decision's got to be made. Are we going to actually make some fucking money out of this, or what are we doing? I said, we have to get to $1 million. I am not doing anything else except being obsessed with listing properties. Obsession became our new word. I became obsessed with listing, Jax became obsessed with selling, and Emily's just obsessed, aren't you, with everything. Everything else, especially us. Look, if you can work with the two of us, a married couple, jeepers. So where are we now? Last year we won Sales Agent of the Year for the Agents Agency, which was completely unexpected, and I was really drunk because I wasn't prepared to go on stage. But we won, and that was amazing! And we've been trying for years to get Bailey, stop nipping at our feet. #1 agents in Frankston South, which is our suburb, something we just reached in the last couple of weeks. So that's a really big one for us as well. So that's pretty awesome. So our philosophy is on brand. Be obsessed. I want you to write that word down. Figure out, don't be obsessed with everything. If you don't like doing a task, delegate it. If you're not good at it, fucking delegate it. Be obsessed with what you're good at and what you like, right? If you're not obsessed with your brand, change it. I'm not suggesting you all up and leave your bosses. I'm just saying, seriously give that some thought. If you cannot sell 100%, if you don't love and believe in the product you are selling, which is you and your brand, you will never be as successful as you possibly can be. Be memorable, not predictable, aka weird pink hashtag. I couldn't care less if anyone remembers my name. I couldn't care less if anyone remembers what we look like. I don't care. Because they call us the girls. We're the girls most of the time. The girls, the pink ones, the ladies with the dogs. I don't care. They remember us. Always be branding. So no, I wasn't allowed to wear a hat, but I did sneak in a couple of glow-in-the-dark wristbands. And I want you to take away from this. So Bob Proctor, what does your brand say about you? What words best describe your brand? I'm not going into all of ours because there's heaps. This is our current look. Actually, it's a combo of our old look and our new look. But always be branding means literally on your Vespa. Who got a Vespa? Woo! I didn't want red because it clashes with pink, but it was cheap. Vespa, we take babies to our opens and pawn them off for good offers, dress them up. But yeah, we're really proud of our brand. Like, we love it. We love it so much. We cannot wait to get it out everywhere. So my theory was success meant doing more, listing more, having more staff, starting another business, basically almost killing myself, until what I realised was simplifying our lives and our brand is actually what's going to be leading us to success. So if you love what you do, you love who you do it with, and you love who you do it for, your clients, that's success.